So yeah, major trigger warning for this video. I'm going to be talking about like the conversion therapy, stuff like that. I'm going to let you know in detail exactly what I mean by that. I might seem a bit distressed. It's not easy for me to talk about, but I'm going to try my hardest to articulate what actually happened to me. So when I was, I don't know, I'd say 13, that's when I really started to notice that I liked guys. I'd obviously liked guys my whole life and just not noticed it. I didn't think I was any different for liking guys. I liked people the same way everyone else likes people, but I never really associated that with being gay or put a label on that until I was like 15. I joined the church when I was 14, so I'd been there for a solid year and established myself within the church before I really came to terms with the fact that I was gay. And I remember one week my pastor was preaching about Sodom and Gomorrah, and obviously in that preaching the concept and the idea of sodomy came up, and I spoke to him, my pastor, after one-to-one, just me and him, thinking that this conversation was going to be in confidence. And I spoke to him and I said, hey, like, just so that you know, like, I have been dealing with this. Because one thing that they talk about a lot is loyalty and disloyalty, as we've spoken about before. And one part of that is that you shouldn't keep secrets from the church. So if you're going through something in your life, you shouldn't hide that from the church. They see that as rebellion. And I didn't want to be rebellious. I didn't want them to think. So they think that you have a spirit of independence working within you if you don't tell them about literally absolutely everything. So I felt compelled, like I had to, It's like indoctrination. So it's like they put it in your mind, so far in your mind, that if you don't tell us everything, then that's the devil working within you. And there's a reason you're not telling us. So I wanted to tell my pastor. And of course, I saw him as like a father figure. Like growing up, my dad wasn't really the kind of person I could talk to about my problems. Even the fact that I was gay, I could never tell my dad that in a million years. So I felt like I don't know, not that I had an obligation to, but also it felt nice to be able to tell someone who I thought would accept and love me for who I was, but I was sadly mistaken. And I remember going into church the next week, and he prayed for me. And he told me that I needed to keep praying. Basically pray.
Censored.
Make sure that whatever it was that was inside of me, whatever evil spirit was inside of me, working within me, was gone. And then, he kept messaging me, checking in on me to see if I was doing okay, to see if I was still praying. And I said yes, but like, it's not going away. I still feel this desire to not necessarily sleep with men, but when I dreamed of marriage, when I dreamed of, my happily ever after, I never saw it being with a woman. That's for sure. That week, the following week in church, there was a girl. I'm not going to name her name because I'm still friends with her to this day, actually. And she was
censored.
I think she just lost her granddad or someone close to her, and she was very depressed. They took us both into a separate room, me and this girl. We'll call her, I don't know, Abby for the sake of the conversation. So they took me and Abby into this room, and they prayed for us. There was 3 guys. Lennox, I'll name your name. I have no issue naming your name for what you did to me. Lennox, Dammy, and Blessing. They took us all into a room, me and Abby, and I'm pretty sure there was another girl there as well. A separate room. So our church building was 2 separate rooms. So whilst the congregation was listening to preach in one room, they took us separately into another room. And I didn't know what it was about because, like I said, I thought that this conversation I'd had with my pastor would be confidential. I thought it was private, but it wasn't. And they pinned us down to the floor. So I was laying flat on my stomach, and I had Lennox laying on my legs. I had Blessing laying on my back, and then I had Dammy holding my arms behind my back. So I'm on my stomach, with my body pinned down by 3 grown men at the age of 15. That's what happened. They splashed holy water on us. and they surrounded us, basically performing an exorcism on us, basically praying that these evil spirits would leave us. So for Abby, they were praying that the spirit of depression would leave her body and that she'd no longer be
censored.
So she was being held down by 3 separate men. She was, I think, 17 at the time, 18, and they were pinned her to the floor and splashed holy water on her and were praying for her. I was obviously also being held down to the ground by Dami, TK. Sorry, not TK. You were there though. You were there witnessing all of this. By Dami, blessing. And I was trying to, so where the stairs are, it was like a platform and then stairs. We were on this little platform and I was trying to like crawl towards the stairs. I was telling them, get off me. And they pinned me down. I had bruises all over my body, which I'll show you. This whole thing lasted about an hour of us screaming for help, trying to get away from these men who were praying for us. They then told me that I needed to keep praying because there's a verse in the Bible that says, when a demon leaves your body. Yeah, they told me I had a demon inside of me, and that's why I was gay. They said when a demon leaves your body then becomes an empty vessel, which means then if the devil wants to send more spirits into your body, they'll come, but 7 times more will come. 7 is the number of completion in the Bible. So basically, if you have had, they call it deliverance, but it is just an exorcism. If you had an exorcism performed on you, your body is then an empty vessel, which then means more spirits can then come inside of you, if that makes any sense. To me at the time it did. It made perfect sense. And I was like, okay, cool, so what do I do now? They said, you need to keep praying. Lock yourself in a dark room and pray. Don't associate with anything outside of church. Don't do anything. Don't watch TV. Don't listen to music. Even music, they say that, the lyrics in music, and I know a lot of this can be true, that the music that you listen to can influence who you are as a person. So they would tell you, don't listen to any music, don't watch TV, don't do anything. Don't do anything that isn't praying. Lock yourself in a dark room and pray. So that's what I did. I'd been so heavily indoctrinated into this that I thought that what they were telling me was right. How could my pastor betray me and tell me, that I had a demon inside of me if I didn't? That doesn't make sense to me. So I did that. I locked myself in a dark room. I prayed for hours. The only time I came out of that room was to eat once a day because I was fasting. He told me I needed to fast so that I would gain, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know the word, but it's fine. But yeah, he told me that I needed to fast, lock myself in a dark room and pray. So the only time I came out of that room was to eat once a day, to go to the toilet, things like that. It got to the point where I was so distressed from it that I lost so much weight. This was 2 weeks of my life. I wasn't going to school. Well, it would have been college at that time. I wasn't going to college. Nothing. I locked myself in that dark room and I prayed. I wouldn't go away. I still felt this urge. Again, not to sleep with men, but I would see men and think, damn, he's attractive. Like, I like this guy, I like that guy. At this point in time, I was, in talking stages. I was old enough to date, and I was in a talking stage with a guy. And it was going well. And I completely cut him off. And, they told me that the reason why I felt the way I was because everyone else was sinners. And they were trying to persuade me or to seduce me into sin. So I needed to hate the very idea of being
censored.
And I did. I really, really did, to the point where I did and said some horrible things to some people, and I truly apologize to you if you are one of those people. I was
censored.
It was so internalized that I hated not only who I was as a person, but I hated
censored
because I felt like you'd done something to me. You were so seductive and you were trying to seduce me into hell. And I wasn't okay with that. I hate
censored.
To this day, that's still something I struggle with. The idea and the concept that
censored
get to walk around and be who they are. Like, that's not okay. You're sinners. and you're trying to seduce people into sin. It's disgusting. You know, that's something I'm still working on to this day. That's what they did to me. They pinned me down. I was 15 years old. Dammy, you pinned me down. Lennox, you pinned me down to the ground. Blessing, you pinned me down to the ground. I was 15 years old. You told me that who I was wasn't good enough, that I was gonna go to hell if I didn't listen and obey to what you told me I needed to do. That's what you did to me. I was 15. I'm sorry, I was 15. I was 15, and that's what you did to me. It didn't just happen once. It didn't just happen twice. It happened 4 times. To the point that I started
censored. Censored.
To take a lighter to myself, to my body. You know, I still have the marks, you know, on my arms as well. I also just want to mention as well that because they told me that, you know, you needed to fast, I actually took it a bit too far, and there were times where I caught myself eating where I shouldn't have eaten, and ended up, you know, intentionally throwing it back up, which caused me to have bulimia for 2 years of my life, to the point where I was hospitalized for it. I was coughing up blood, my arms were bleeding, I was severely malnourished, which is another reason why I know a lot of you see me posting pictures of my abs on my story and probably think, oh, this guy is such a player. Like, that's not the intention. The intention is to show you that, look, I have come so far in my life to the point where now I'm comfortable showing you my body. Whereas before, I wouldn't have been comfortable doing that. I mean, I can post pictures, but I think it might be a bit too distressing. I was very, very underweight, you know. I was fasting. I was trying to fast. But there's no guidelines, there's no rules. They don't tell you how to do it. They just say you need to fast. And I was a kid. I was very impressionable as a child. You could have told me to jump and I would have asked how high. So that's something I really struggled with. But I'll let you get back to the video now. That's what I would do to myself, because I felt like the only way for me to stop feeling
censored,
experience a little bit of hell. They say that hell burns, and I wanted to know what that burning sensation would feel like, to see if it would shock me or scare me out of doing that anymore, or feeling the way that I felt. And it didn't. Sorry. One thing that I'm going to show you as well, which I probably shouldn't, but trigger warning, I'm going to show you the scars on my arm, because they are scars. And I'm proud of that they're scars and they're not, oh, in fact, you know what? You can hardly even see them. I came so far. I don't know if you can see them. You can't. Oh, you can. Here and here. You can see 2 of them. They're scars. These are scars. These aren't fresh marks. Yeah, you can see them. I really came a long way. I have come a long way, and I don't need you anymore. I don't need your prayers. I don't need your exorcisms. I don't need them. Yeah. So how about that? But I was 15. I was 15 years old, and I know that there is another 15-year-old out there in the same position that I was in. And that's why I'm asking you, when you see these videos, I just want you to like them. I just want you to double tap on your screen. That's all I want you to do. I want you to comment if you can comment. If you don't want to, you don't have to, but just at least like the videos, man. Because your silence makes you complicit. This experience that I'm telling you that I had, someone else is having it right now. In this same church, they're going through the same experience. I've seen girls be married off to men twice their age, in hopes that it will get them to heaven. You know, I've really felt like I was gonna go to heaven if I just listened to my pastor. All I needed to do was listen to my pastor. All I needed to do was not be disloyal. All I needed to do was open up and tell him absolutely everything about my life. Everything about my life. Absolutely everything about my life. If I didn't, I was going to hell because I was being disobedient. It's hard. It's really hard. Even now, I'm having to relearn my entire life. I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know if I want to be
censored,
how to be gay. I don't know how to love. I don't know how to love another man. I don't know how to do that. I'm gonna cry. 1 second. I'm gonna have to come back and do a part 2 because I don't know if I have it in me to record the rest of this video. But I will come back for a part 2.